Okay guys, so today you are gonna witness the beauty of the American West. And by the time you finish today's lesson, you'll be able to use advanced English vocabulary to describe beautiful landscapes and natural beauty when you talk with native speakers about this topic. So Jessica and I, the ones who made this course, the two of us who made this course together, we grew up in very different places. I grew up on the East Coast, here on the East Coast. I'm currently at MIT, on the MIT campus. The East Coast is a lot more fast-paced. Jessica grew up on the West Coast, which is more relaxed in general. And it almost feels like you can be in two completely different countries when you're on the East Coast versus the West Coast. Gosh, that day in Utah, I have to tell you, was probably one of the most breathtaking of my life. I started in Zion and I moved through to Bryce Canyon, through the Grand Staircase National Escalante Park. I was trying to get to Colorado as fast as I could, and I had completely underestimated the size of Utah because I'm from the Northeast, and here in the Northeast, the states are small. You can get from one end to the other in 3 hours. In the West, obviously that's not the case. But I stopped short when I hit Canyonlands National Park, and I stopped rushing, and I felt an incredible sense of being small and overwhelmed with the beauty. It was about 6 or 7 p.m. The sun was just starting to set. It took me about an hour and a half to drive through that one road, that one route on the outskirts of Canyonlands National Park. I must have passed 5 or 6 cars in an hour and a half. There was no one out there. It felt vast. I don't know, I don't know how to describe it, but it was like nothing I had ever seen out here on the East Coast or in any other country. It was just magical. That's the only word that I can use to describe it.
Please listen to these questions, think about your answers, and write down your thoughts in your notebook. Question 1. What are the landscape differences between the eastern and western parts of your country? Question 2. How are the people different, and why do you think this is? Now pause the video and write down your thoughts on those questions. Here is your task. Okay, here is the first question that we are going to ask you after the video. We want you to take notes on the differences between the East Coast and the West Coast of the United States while you watch the video. And here's the second question that you're going to answer. What are the adjectives that Lindsay uses to describe the landscape?
I'm on Route 12 East, just out of Bryce Canyon, heading towards Torrey, Utah. And I was thinking as I was driving, doing the drive this morning, I think one of the big differences between the West and the East Coast is obviously how open the landscape is. If you can see here, it's just incredibly open, and it makes you feel small. And I talked to a couple of friends about this, and that might have something to do with the way we conduct ourselves in the world, right? You know, out here you find that people maybe have a sense of being more polite or more connected with others. Whereas in the East, on the East Coast, in the cities, you're constantly fighting for your own space. And that creates a certain mindset, a mentality. And I don't feel that mindset out here. It's great, it's refreshing. So, I don't know, it's just interesting to note these differences as I kind of head back east to see how I feel. Do I feel that things are getting smaller, everything's getting more pushed together as I get to the eastern seaboard? So take in the view, it's awesome. The camera just does not do it justice. It's just incredible. am in Utah, moving towards southern Utah. I came from Bryce Canyon this morning, and now I'm moving down towards the then I want to head to the Four Corners. But this is just some of the most incredible scenery I've seen in my life. It's incredible. There's nobody out here. It's completely rural, but it is gorgeous. I don't even need to go to the Grand Canyon. This is unreal. Check it out.
Now let's check your answers. Okay, so let's check your answers from that quiz. So number 1, what are the differences between the East and the West? Well, the West has an open landscape and makes you feel small. People are more polite and more connected with others, whereas on the East Coast, people are constantly fighting for their own space. It's smaller and people are more pushed together. Number 2, what adjectives does Lindsay use to describe the landscape? Well, I said open, awesome, incredible, rural, gorgeous, and unreal.
Okay guys, so it's time for you to practice describing natural beauty of your country in English. So I want you to choose a place of natural beauty in your country that you think is incredible, the same way that I thought Utah was breathtaking. Choose a place of natural beauty in your country that you think is beautiful. I want you to describe it to another person in English using as many adjectives as you can.
Now, please do the activity. Coming up in the next lesson.
In this next lesson, you'll have a chance to witness the funniest and craziest situation that happened on the entire trip. And you'll finally be able to understand how native speakers add humor to their language, and you'll be able to do the same. So let's keep going to the next lesson.